Greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to the Storyteller's Corner. I'm your host, Joshua T. Calkins Trilogy, also known as Byron of Sidious. This is a storyteller's perspective piece. VTubers under attack? Or is it under scrutiny? The last 6 months or so seem to have been rife with accusations of hate and aggression towards the collective cluster of content creators known colloquially as VTubers, and it seems this trend has hit a bit of a fever pitch of late. I'm only a tourist in this arena, as most of them would dub me in order to gleefully dismiss my views on many of them, but I'll note that the disdain or dismissal of someone who won't show their name or face publicly starts off meaning less to me than that of a real person on camera by dint of the decision to remain hidden. I don't care what your reasons for anonymity are at the outset, which is unfortunate, because some of you have every good reason to be anonymous, and we'll get to that. I just want you to be aware that I have that bias against you from the start, and no, I am not obligated to set that aside. With that somewhat hostile opening out of the way, allow me to say that there are a few VTubers to whom I routinely listen. And I say listen rather than watch because, for the most part, it's through YouTube, and it's while I'm working, so I'm just listening in. Those characters are Kershey, Leaflet, Smugalana, Ember Paradox, Mama Akko, and Hypnotic. Yes, I consider him a VTuber. I'm vaguely familiar with a few others, but for the most part, I don't go searching for folks of this variety or in this arena. It's nothing personal, I just tend to lean more towards normal YouTubers and Rumblers, and by normal, yes, I mean folks who use their own physical voices and likenesses to appear on screen. Some VTubers refer to such folks as, quote, flesh tubers, but I reject that for the same reason that I reject the term cis or cisgender. You are the ones operating outside of the standard and the norm, so you get the tag, not us. Even as I prepare to speak on behalf of or in defense of VTubers, you can already tell by my tone and my choice of words that I am not going to offer any sort of flowery or overt, semi-worshipful, leave my Oshi alone shielding. Even the use of the term, my Oshi, makes me kind of want to gag. I am crafting this script largely in response to one of the VTubers that I named before, who I routinely listen to via their YouTube channel, Ember Paradox. Most of these folks stream on Twitch, which I have not visited or used in probably 4 years or so. For live streams, I tend to use Rumble or YouTube, and for 2 or 3 folks, I'll use Kick. In the video I'm responding to, Ember rages about the unpleasant interactions being foisted on another VTuber, Zentreya. Accusations are made that said VTuber, Zentreya, is possibly trans and is using a voice changer app, and that these are used as cause to be hostile toward them. Ember expresses anger at this tactic, especially since it seems to her that it is often aimed at what she dubs soft targets. Here, I believe she has a valid point, and I'm in agreement with her. It seems that nastiness is often lobbed at those VTubers who are more soft-spoken, less combative or ornery, because they tend not to fight back or fight back a lot less. But I have to also point out to Ember that this is not unique to VTubers. This is how all online team sports horseshite tends to operate. Welcome to the internet. No, that doesn't make it right. No, that doesn't make it okay. But it does make it the observable reality, so grab a fucking helmet and get in the game. Ember and several other VTubers have also pointed out, accurately so, that they seem to be punished for purported terms of service violations at a much higher rate than the golden children of the platforms that they stream on. The whole bare anime hips thing is a prime example. Hassan Piker can exclaim that America deserved 9/11 and other terrorist attacks, and he gets away with a 1-day suspension on his day off. But a VTuber with a model that shows some anime hips and ass gets suspended for a week? It's kind of bullshit if you ask me. But let's take a step back now and address some of the main reasons that I would defend VTubers. For starters, some folks opt for VTubing in order to separate their personal lives from their pursuits as entertainers or characters. That's perfectly legitimate. It's a little like when Will Ferrell played Ron Burgundy in Anchorman. It wasn't Ferrell being Ferrell. He was portraying a character. Sure, it can be difficult to separate actor and character sometimes. I'm looking at you, Peter Cullen / Optimus Prime. But at the end of the day, some VTubers are just that. They're actors playing a part. Some VTubers obscure their identities to protect their real-world jobs and relationships because they wish to express ideas and opinions that could cause them conflict in their real-world environments. I understand this rationale too, because since about 2010 or 2012, we've all seen way too many examples of cancellation for online thoughts and sentiments. People's lives get obliterated for mob mentality retards going blitzkrieg over differences of worldview and opinion, and it's disgusting. Lastly, some VTubers use the screen models and altered voices because, well, they're personally uncomfortable being on camera, or they don't like the sound of their own voice. Again, I can kind of empathize with that. I really can. I try not to show up on camera for as many videos as I can, get away with it. My audiobook presentations, it's just a still image and my voice narrating the book or story in the background. I get it. I can empathize. I own a mirror, folks. I'm aware that this face isn't going to serve as a draw for really much of any audience on its own. I have to either be smart, funny, or expertly knowledgeable in some niche area to enjoy any level of success anywhere I go. But now I have to address the other side of the coin, and maybe earn some of the ire of Ember, her audience, and VTubers and their fandoms, generally speaking. When she asks, quote, why would it matter if Zentreya were trans or using a voice changer, she's purposely ignoring a big reason people prefer YouTubers and Twitch and Rumble and Kick streamers over traditional talking heads and commentators. Authenticity. When your whole presentation starts off with an artifice, your authenticity account starts with a knock against it. You are starting off with, hi there folks, would you like to listen to someone who won't show themselves on screen? Secondly, most VTuber models are fashioned after anime aesthetics. Now, anime has a pretty broad appeal in terms of the types of fans who enjoy the art form in its various genres. However, what the folks at places like Nielsen Bookscan, Wizard Magazine, the Iowa Writers Workshop, and the Art Institute of Pittsburgh have all collectively concluded over the last number of years is that most visual styles of anime and most narrative arcs and tropes deployed in anime writing or manga are largely popular among socio-politically neutral and or conservative personality types and viewers. That being said, if the tendency among your audience is to be more neutral or conservative, then it only makes sense that some folks in the audience will have an issue with a VTuber who is trans, particularly if they aren't open and honest about that from the word go. Sociopolitically neutral and conservative people are not big fans of those who lie to them or who obfuscate until they are caught and called out for it. Again, this takes away from one's authenticity account. And I'm sorry, Ember, but I'm a little surprised that you aren't aware of these things. And lastly, let's address fandoms, generally speaking. I think we all know that there are some rabid, freakazoid fan bases out there. Folks who will do everything in their power to oust and brigade and destroy you if you dare speak ill of their beloved IP or cult of personality leaders. VTuber fandoms, well, they're no different, and in some cases they host the most unhinged online commenters available. Moreover, most of these keyboard warriors also obfuscate their identities behind avatars and usernames, which leaves the whole thing reeking of the desire to be able to say and do whatever the hell they want and suffer no consequences. Ultimately, I'm not so sure that VTubers are, quote, under assault, as Ember seems to suggest. Her concern is understandable, though. She is, after all, an anime-style VTuber herself, so she could very well end up facing the same kind of nastiness that Zendara came under. However, I would pose the question to her that I posed in the title of this piece, slightly adjusted. Are you angry because a fellow VTuber is, quote, under attack? Or are you angry that the same level of scrutiny, previously reserved only for flesh tubers, as you call them, is finally being aimed at your colleagues and community as well? My name is Joshua T. Calkins Trilogy. I doubt that yours is Ember Paradox. Go ahead and unleash your digital hounds. Cheers.